lurks in the darkest black. And what if it looks back? Hark, dark tidings aboard of the vessel, saber rattling meager men's metal. It arrives armored in ill-gotten metals, procured from foes who hadn't the nettle. Far better arms than the ordinary man, capping all the damned 8 swords in hand, whirling dervish of blades, countless men flayed on every raid. You'll not have thought he'd fought like he did, but he got rid of any who dare outwit the salty squid. The salty squid, the salty squid, deep from the blackest pit. The salty squid, the salty squid, at a sword tip forced to submit. The salty squid, the salty squid, deep from the blackest pit. The salty squid, the salty squid, at a sword tip forced to submit to the salty squid. Hollowed heart, sailing alone, stern slicing mist like filleting bone, plundering coffers and tattered remains, ice in his veins. No one has seen the monster in days.
Hawk out in the dark, he's mastered the art of taking ill-fated armadas apart. The ship and the crew strewn across the bottom of the deepest blue.
They set sail again with the best men they've trained, a stake to bring the end of his raid. Little do they know, they'll never see home. The beast arms are already wrapped round their throat. The salty squid, deep from the blackest pit. The salty squid, at a sword tip forced to submit. The salty squid, deep from the blackest pit. The salty squid, at a sword tip forced to submit to the salty squid.
Alrighty.
Oh, having some audio difficulties here. Already, stream hasn't even started. Welcome, hello, how's it going, people? My 5 viewers, I love you. You're my favorite people in the entire world, I promise. What are we doing today? Today, we're gonna have a short little stream, just chatting about, mental health, family bonds, things of that nature. And we're gonna do so through one of my favorite creators, Universal Mastery. He's a registered wizard, I'm fairly certain of that. He's definitely a mermaid gooner. You'll see in his videos he has some lovely mermaid paintings on the back wall. But intermixed with his schizophrenia, there is some good advice. So we're gonna try and parse that out.
Hey, we have a really...
Let's start the video
Alrighty.
over. Scuffed off the beginning.
In, ladies and gentlemen. So today we have a really interesting video that we're going to be speaking about. Okay? I really think this is going to be a valuable subject to cover that in many ways I feel like a lot of people aren't aware of and a lot of people aren't fully...
First of all, before we even get started, just look at this beautiful mermaid riding a narwhal, I think is what that is, or a dolphin unicorn, I'm not sure. Whatever it is, it's fucking gorgeous. And then you've got this definitely topless mermaid. I think this might be her taking her top. This man is a mermaid gooner, certified. I don't know what's going on over here because it's a little blurry, but I'm sure it's fucking degenerate.
Speaking about in the depth that it truly does deserve. So, and I'm going to be sharing from my own personal experience, stuff that I've been through in my life that I've seen happen sort of as a pattern, and what I also see happen in a lot of other people's lives but it seems like a lot of people don't really honor their process and they kind of fall into this pattern. So, I'm basically going to be speaking about how, right when I went through a breakup, a pretty serious breakup, where in many ways you could say my entire identity shifted afterwards, and it really hurt. It was almost immediately after, within that next month, I manifested several different people in.
Okay, so the first video he's going to be talking about interpersonal romantic relationships, but a lot of what I would like to talk about today is like toxic family bonds, because I've dealt with both of the issues there with the romantic toxic bonds and also toxic family bonds that I've had to get through and get over. And I don't want this to be a trauma dump stream or a boo-hoo me stream, because I've done my therapy and conquered my demons. I've gotten over all that shit. But it seems like a lot of people fucking haven't. So I think talking about that and helping people, come to the realization that maybe the best thing for them is to not be attached to these people for their own personal mental health, their own happiness. That can be important, because a lot of people do have this notion that they are tied to toxic family for whatever reason. So we'll explore that more. I'll get into it. I just kind of wanted to start it off with some insane universal mastery, because he just makes me smile in the morning.
My life that then presented themselves as basically people that wanted to date me or wanted to re-enter into a new relationship with me. And, that is what it is. And pretty much all of these people understood that I had just come out of a serious relationship. And I think that's worth noting. That's very interesting. But the point that I'm making here is that, I went through this really intense separation. And I've been through separations before in my past, and I've seen this pattern actually manifest in my past before, as I was saying. But this time around, when I went through what I went through, I'm a lot more conscious. I'm a lot more embodied. I'm a lot more aware of what's best for me and what I'm being called to do at an intuitive level or at an instinctual level. But it was interesting to be able to really see the pattern play itself out so intensely. It was so real how the pattern played itself out. And what I mean by that is, once again, I had just come out of a relationship. I was hurt. I was processing a lot. And then suddenly there are several different people that manifested in my life and then just presented themselves as wanting to enter into a relationship with me. Basically saying, hey, I like you, I'm attracted to you, etc. I want to do something with you, in regards to a deeper commitment.
So what Universal Mastery is saying is he gets bitches. The wizard business is working out well for him. He's got a flood of bitches. It sounds like he's got no worries with the women. He can cut off any toxic woman at any moment, because there is a line waiting for the wizard.
Whereas when I was in the relationship, I wasn't really experiencing that. I don't know where these people were, and I don't know if that was something that was presenting itself to me. I mean, I didn't see it, but it was right after that relationship ended that I noticed these new opportunities presented itself. And the reason why that's so fascinating to me is because, obviously after you go through any form of a deep separation with someone that leaves you with a lot of heavy emotions, that takes time to heal. It takes time to process. It's not something you're going to do in a day. It's not something you're going to do in a week. It's not something that you're going to do in a couple months. It sometimes can take anywhere from 6 months to a year to potentially longer. And I was very aware of this time around, but I found it super fascinating that these people presented themselves in my life basically wanting to go into a relationship with me. And if I'm being completely honest, there was a little bit of a temptation for it. I'm aware enough to know that that was not.
Yeah, Angry Knees, you missed the part in the beginning when I went over his astounding portraits in the back, and we've decided that this man is a mermaid gooner, and that might be, in fact, how he got his magical powers. I'm not sure. He is a certified wizard in the occult magics. He can summon demons. Right now, he's not doing that. He's just talking about relationship stuff, but in his other videos, he does tell us how to summon demons. You can see in the background his beautiful narwhal dolphin mermaid mashup. How is she even saddling that thing? I don't know. It's beautiful though. we're not going to look deeper into that.
In my best interest, that's not something I'm going to do, but there was a little part of me that wanted to just jump right in. And you know what's interesting about that is because I think so many of us do that. We go through relationship after relationship after relationship, and we don't necessarily give ourselves that gap to actually heal for those times that we break up and that we need to be with ourselves and we need to be a little bit more present. So many of us are looking to almost immediately refill that void with another face, with another body, with another form of distraction, so that we don't have to be with ourselves and we don't have to nurture and take care of.
Spore, this guy is a character, and that's why we feature him on my channel so much. We love him, but he actually has some good, decent takes sometimes. He's got some points. You have to pull it out of the schizo, woo-woo magic aspect, but he's got decent points. He just flavors it really well. I don't know. He's funny. I like this guy. We fuck with this guy.
Of those deeper wounds that are truly just right underneath the surface. I know for a fact I've done that in my past too many times, more times than what I'm proud of. I've learned a lot, but I've done that before. I literally remember my first serious relationship was in high school. I was in 10th grade, and I dated this girl. I won't say her name just to keep her, private, but I was dating this girl. Her name started with an M. And
was it Mermaid? I bet it was Mermaid.
I really liked her. We dated for almost 3 years, and we definitely had a good connection together. And for the most part, it was a really good relationship. It wasn't perfect, but it was a good relationship. But then, towards the end of it, I think I started I started to really feel like this wasn't the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with. I liked her a lot, and I know she liked me a lot, but I just had this feeling that she wasn't my person that I meant to spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah, I see a lot of young people falling into this trap where, you think that this person that you've been with in high school or that you found when you were 17 is going to be the person you're with forever. No, you have so many years of growing and develop. Your frontal lobe hasn't even developed yet. Like, you need to date different people and figure out who you are and figure out what you do and do not accept in a relationship. Figure out how to communicate with different types of people. And then you fucking find the person that you're supposed to be with. And it shouldn't be through a dating app. It should be somebody that you're already friends with, somebody that you have a naturalized relationship with.
And it was a really weird feeling to start picking up on that. But it was becoming more real for me. And there was just a couple things that kind of manifested that showed me that this doesn't look like this will be something that will last much longer. So I ended up breaking up with her, and when we separated, it was hard. At that point in my life, I didn't have enough maturity to end that relationship in the way that I would have liked to. Yeah, it was hard because I really cared about her and I liked her, and I don't think I knew how to be vulnerable enough to say, hey.
Yeah, and Blackburn, that is another option. You can tie people up and keep them in your basement and just feed them and keep them taken care of periodically so that when you're ready, you can choose which one you want to marry. That is another option, but the FBI might be onto you. I don't know.
I still love you and I like you, but I really don't think we're compatible for the long term. I didn't know how to say that. So I think for me, I had to create somewhat of a drama in order for that relationship to end in a little bit more of an abrupt way. And it did. It ended in a way that was more like, it just seemed like we weren't on the best terms. We ended up resolving a lot of that stuff after the fact, but the original separation was really painful. And I remember directly after that, someone else came into my life to essentially fill the void. And it's crazy how it manifested. It wasn't like I was consciously seeking for someone or looking for them in that conscious way, but definitely there was a part of me, or maybe parts of me, that we could call were protector parts that were looking to fill that void in.
See, I don't like the way he's talking about that. That seems like he's just bouncing from relationship to relationship and he's filling this empty space inside of him that he needs to have another person for. That's not healthy either. You need to learn how to be able to live on your own without another person leaning on, to lean on. You need to be able to be a functioning adult and regulate your emotions and go to work and have a normal life and have a routine and take care of a household by yourself before you do that with another person. Because if you can't do those basic things and you get into a relationship with somebody and start living with them, shit is going to hit the fan. Like, it's inevitable. So you need to be an adult and you need to take care of yourself first and foremost. Handle the shit inside of you and in your environment before you try to get into a relationship with somebody else. And that seems pretty basic, but nobody fucking does that. Everybody goes into relationships with terrible emotional baggage from their last relationship that they haven't dealt with, trauma from their childhood that they haven't dealt with. They don't know how to take care of themselves. It's ridiculous.
That somehow put me in resonance with another person that literally lined right up. And I ended up, basically getting into this other relationship right after I dated M. I went and I started kind of seeing this other girl, and I didn't give myself that gap to heal and to integrate and to process the wound and the pain of what I went through with M. So that was not good, because then that baggage and that pain and that hurt carried into that next relationship. And for me, what I learned to do was repress it even more, which came out in other ways. So it was kind of at this point in my life, I think at this point I want to say I was about 16 years old, maybe turning 17, where I started to go down a pretty dark path. I started selling drugs. I was doing drugs. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd of people, doing like robbing people, things of that nature, just not good.
Oh my god, he was using his wizard powers for evil. He was robbing people with magic. I can see it now. Just pick a card, any card, and then just BAM! Takes their fucking wallet.
Stuff. And so I had a lot of pain that was coming out in a very unintegrated way. So the moral of this, the point of me sharing this is that, fast forward to now and this previous relationship that I went through, the last relationship that ended in my life, it takes time to heal that. And I was very aware that I need to heal. I was not ready, willing, or able to go into any other relationships or to just jump into those.
Hi, Lily. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us. We're listening to mental health issues with a mermaid gooner.
Nonchalantly or blindly, because I'm very aware that it takes time and I need to honor that inner process. I need to be comfortable enough with myself to know it's time to date or it's time to see another person in that type of way before I would ever actually pull that trigger and start seeing another person. But once again, it was very strange because I saw multiple people just suddenly come out of nowhere, presenting themselves, basically saying, hey.
Yeah, no, Angry Knees, I wasn't always this, well put together person, that has my life together and a wife and a really nice job and a career and all that shit and a house. When I was a teenager, I was a piece of shit. And that's because I hadn't dealt with the trauma from my fucking childhood. I was not a nice person as a teenager when I lived in LA, and I was doing drugs. I wasn't robbing people because I'm not that big of a piece of shit, but I was doing drugs. I was fucking staying out all night. I was hanging out with the wrong kind of fucking people in LA. I'm not going to talk about all the shit I was doing, but you have to deal with the trauma and emotional turmoil inside of you, or you're going to express that in super negative ways to not just yourself, but also the people that are around you.
I would love to be in a relationship with you. I think we would be a great match. What do you say? And nothing on them, no shame or no judgment towards them. Bless their hearts. I think they're, wonderful people overall. But for me, I interpreted that as sort of a similar pattern that has manifested in my life before, but has also manifested, kind of recently too, where it's like this familiar pattern presented itself from the last relationship that I was just in. A very similar pathway, a very similar pattern. And that was strange. It didn't shock me because I understand how that works, but it was really strange to see it. And it was actually really cool because it gave me a chance to let go. It gave me a chance to release it. But I have a feeling that your typical person that doesn't understand themselves yet and doesn't understand what it means to go through a deeper healing and give themselves that space that they need, potentially for that conscious solitude, it would be so enticing and so easy or tempting to just jump right in, because you almost think it's like God is giving it to you. It's like, wow, you just went through this heartbreak, you're hurt, you feel alone, all your shame and your unworthiness and your sadness is coming up. Here's your gift. Here's another person that reflects a very similar familiarity. That's a pattern that you know so well, but they're a different face, they're a different body, and they're going to teach you a little bit of a difference, but they're very similar to that first pattern that you just came out of. See, people don't register it in that way. They think it's a blessing. They think it's a gift from God. They think, wow, this person came in and they saved me from my heaviness. They saved me from my depression. When in reality, I think you potentially just jumped into something you weren't ready for. And it's masked as comfort. It's masked as false security.
Yeah, so that's pretty good advice. That's basically what I was saying earlier. Like, he's done this before where he's jumped into things that he wasn't ready for and just used them as a safety blanket to make him feel better. And that's not good for anybody. That's not good for you because you're not growing and dealing with the trauma. And it's not good for the person that you're in a relationship with because you're essentially using them and you're coming to them on bad faith.
But it's a very similar energy with a different face, a different body, and a few tweaks here and there compared to the pattern and the energy you just came out of. And I don't think there's enough people that are really talking about this and that are sharing that this is a very common thing that does happen for people. And you might ask, like, why does that happen? Like, how do you just manifest a person into your life right after a heavy breakup? Why is it suddenly that you just manifest a new person out of nowhere that tries to fill that void? Well, once again, when you understand your subconscious mind and different parts of yourself.
Wait, he is a wizard, so when he says manifesting people, he might just mean like he's creating his own people, you know, out of chemicals, and building his own wives, which would be interesting. I wonder if they're part mermaid.
You know, you have protective parts of you that are hardwired to keep you safe from some of your core wounds here. So after you go through a separation with someone that you loved, what's going to get triggered? Your core wounds. Some of your deepest core wounds are going to start surfacing, and you're going to have to kind of go through a little bit of a process to integrate that stuff. So what does that do within your system? It triggers your protectors to sort of go in overdrive. So you can have a protective part of you that's existing in your subconscious mind, also lives in your nervous system, that then broadcasts a frequency, a very powerful signal, a subtle signal, we could say, that reaches certain other people that are in direct resonance with where you are right now. So you're going to resonate with other people that are probably still dealing with some form of a wound, some form of a...
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me as well. Like, people that have a lot of trauma are going to attract each other because chaos loves chaos. It's you know, people that have their shit together attract each other. When you have your shit together, you don't have to tell people. It's an aura that you have. It comes off of you. You don't have to try. People will notice, like, oh my God, this guy really takes care of himself. He's got a fucking good job. He really has his shit together. He's never late for work. He has good relationships with people. He treats people nice. Like, people will notice. You don't have to make it apparent like you're putting out a bat signal for a relationship.
Emptiness, some form of potentially a grief or a shame or an unworthiness that resonates at a very similar frequency to what you're now experiencing as you just went through your breakup. And then that's why that person suddenly comes in when you haven't heard of or seen them for years, and they just suddenly appear right when you went through a breakup. It's not like they were watching you. It's not like they were stalking you. It's not like they were necessarily waiting for you to be single. It's an energetic resonance thing. It's that wound gets...
No, see, Universal Mastery does the stalking. Nobody stalks him.
It's triggered after your breakup, and then your protector parts go on overdrive, and they start searching for people in the quantum. And then it finds those energetic matches, and it tries to magnetize them to you to say, hey, are you going to go back in? Go back into this relationship. This is what's safe. This is what's familiar. This is what you know. This is what's going to cover up your pain. Just jump in, jump in. That would be your protective part that is kind of running in the background. If you're not aware of that part of you or those parts of you, then once again, you might think this is a gift from God. You might think this is a divine intervention. But It's actually
Yeah, I heard that too, Angry Knees. I was like, oh, quantum. Oh, it's got the little bug jellies in my brain jiggling.
not. And it's a perfect opportunity to let go of that pattern and of that familiar energy and recognize it and honor it. You know, when you attract that person and you start to recognize the part of you that's behind it, you get to become aware of it and better understand it and let it know, hey, I see what you're doing. I understand you're trying to keep me safe, but it's okay. I don't need to go back into that. I'm willing to process the shame, the grief, the sadness, the loneliness, and the heartbreak that I just went through. It's okay. And I'm going to be here and I'm going to be checking in with you. That is the perfect opportunity to approach it in this type of way, but you have to understand what you're experiencing. You have to understand why you're experiencing it to some degree. You have to have this education so that you can honor yourself again. And if you're being truthful to yourself, you would know. I mean, this goes for anybody. When you come out of a heavy relationship or a heavy breakup with anybody, no one is ready to jump into something new right after that. How does that make any sense? How can you go through such a pain, such a hurt?
Yeah, that's pretty basic. Everybody should know that, but unfortunately, not everybody practices that. They fucking feel like they need to be with somebody in order to be fulfilled, either in society's eyes or in their family's eyes or whatever reason, or they just can't stand on their own, which is a problem in and of itself. So if you get out of a toxic relationship like this and you don't feel like you are mentally healthy and stable and in a good spot, then spend some time on your own. Spend some time cleaning up your house. You know, it's okay to be alone and single for a year, 2 years, while you improve yourself and focus on your own mental health. And at that point, then you can go get into a relationship. But not everybody needs to just jump into a relationship. I feel like society pushes that on us, that if you're not with somebody, that you're not worthy or you're doing something wrong. But that's not the case. Not everybody gets into relationships on the same timelines, and you need to take care of yourself first and your happiness.
Hurt, and then be ready to completely invest yourself into a whole nother person and get to know them and then them get to know you and all. How does that make sense? You need...
Yeah, clean your room, bucko. Twitter is a rat hole. It's filled with insecure little males.
time for you. And as you start to heal by being present with those exiled parts of you and these really core, deep-rooted core wounds that are in your system from everything that got triggered from the separation, as you're present with it and you're patient with it and you're taking it one day at a time, you're going to slowly and surely feel better and reemerge yourself.
Yeah, no, unironically, Jordan Peterson back in the day had some decent, like, self-help advice and, like, therapeutic mental health advice. He just stepped out of his lane, like many such cases of people stepping out of their lane. They're really smart at one thing, so they think I know everything about everything. And that is not a good way to live, okay? I got my degree in animal science. I know a lot about animal science and animal medicine. That does not make me a philosopher. It doesn't make me an expert in political science. It doesn't make me a fucking mathematician. So don't act like you have this giant ego and you know everything about everything, because I guarantee none of you fucking do. We're all morons. Thank you.
As a new version of you. And that's the beauty of going through a breakup.
Why? What are you doing?
And actually, the most painful part of going through a separation is not losing the person. I know that's probably what you think it is. You're like, okay, well, I'm never going to see that person again, and that breaks my heart. It's not that. Yeah, you might miss them a little.
Oh, fuck. Okay, my technology stupidity has revealed my Yu-Gi-Oh fandom to the world, so that's out there now.
Little bit, but it's not really that. It's actually the part of you that was in the relationship with them in the first place that you're grieving the loss of that part of you. So I want you to really pick up on the nuance of what I'm saying here. There was a part of you, a protector part of you, that was the part of you that was in the relationship with that person. It wasn't necessarily the true you, the real you. It was a part of you. And I'm sure in many ways, both of you learned things together. You grew together. You had good times together. You had bad times together. You were building up each other's part. You were building up that protector energy. And that's why things felt so cohesive for a period of time. But then when the truth started showing and your authenticity started peeking through and your vulnerability started coming through, that's when the mask wasn't able to be fed anymore. That's when the mask or the persona or that protector part of you that you were identified with couldn't survive anymore. And that's when there was problems. That's when there started becoming discord between you and your ex.
Discord mention.
Or you and that other person. It's because you were afraid of losing yourself. You were afraid of losing that part of you. So the real growth in this, the real beauty in this was you now get to become more aware of that part of you that got into the relationship with that.
Yes, Spore. Our wizard friend here loves to explain really simple concepts in really obscure ways. I don't know anybody like that. Can't think of a single person who likes to make things super flowery and obscure when the concept is very basic. Huh.
Person. And then ask yourself, am I truly grieving the person, or am I grieving the part of me that was in the relationship with the person that I'm now dissolving my attachment to and I'm no longer identifying with? Is that why this separation is actually so triggering and why it's so heavy and why it's so deep? This is deep, but this is the case for most people and they don't know it. They get so caught up.
This is deep, guys. Okay, just so you know, this is fucking deep. We're getting deep here. We're very deep. We're so deep, we're near the Marianas Trench.
On the other person, and they think that they think that they're so hurt and sad because, you know, they love the other person, but it's actually an internal thing. It's more of an internal thing, and you just might not be fully conscious of that yet. But the more you do grieve in the way that you need to, and you release that person from your system, and you practice surrender, and you practice letting go, as well as practice trusting the process, and you start loving yourself for the first time. And I don't mean an artificial loving yourself. I'm outside walking, drinking my green juice, going to the gym, doing my yoga sessions. That's not self-love that I'm talking about. The self-love that I'm talking about is the ability to just be in acceptance with yourself when you're feeling low. You know, when...
So yeah, that's unironically good advice, and basically what I was saying before is like you need to be comfortable by yourself, and what he's saying is you need to be able to be happy and not feel like you can't be alone because there's this toxic energy inside of you. A lot of people need to go to fucking therapy, and that sounds like basic advice and everybody uses it as a fucking meme, but it's true. But you have to be open to therapy. You have to want to fucking conquer the trauma inside you. And we all have trauma from somewhere. Some of it's bigger than others, but everybody's got trauma, and everybody experiences and holds on to trauma differently. So if you're an asshole and you're treating people like shit, maybe look in your own fucking mirror. I don't know.
When you're feeling down, when you're feeling heavy, if you can love yourself there by being present with your emotions, feeling those emotions, not resisting them or avoiding them or running from them, that's what I mean by self-love. If you can go through that real process, you will heal. You will release that other person from your life. You'll start to see the part of you that went into that relationship that you're actually grieving and that you're dissolving your attachment to. That's a deep one. And then there will come a time where you will be ready to meet another person and be able to have an even deeper and an even more intimate relationship and connection with them. There is somebody out there that is for everyone. There's a lot, think about that. There's a lot of humans on this planet.
Not you, chat. There's no one out there for you. You're going to die alone forever.
And everything operates through resonance. There is a person out there that is for you. On an energetic level, they match you, and they are exactly what you're looking for in a partner. So...
What about you, Universal Mastery? Is there a mermaid out there for you? Because that seems to be your get down. That might be why all your relationships are failing, is because you haven't found the right mermaid yet. You should spend more time at the docks.
You have to love yourself and become that embodiment of what you're wanting in a partner so that you can be ready to actually attract that and experience that as a physical reality. But that's the path that you're walking, and that's the path that you want to walk down. And that's a whole different type of relationship than the ones that you've probably have previously been through in your life. And, you know, I'm speaking from personal experience too. At the point that I'm at now, I'm 29 years old. I've been through enough relationships in my life to understand what am I now looking for in a partner?
He doesn't look great for 29, I gotta say. I thought he was like 35. Maybe it's that pedo mustache that's doing it.
What am I truly looking for in someone that I want to spend the rest of my life with, someone that I want to have a family with, and what does it mean for me to be in a relationship with myself, and what does that look like, what does that feel like, so that I can become that embodiment of what I'm wanting in my partner. I'm at a place where I know that's what it takes, and that's, you know, those are the things that it is that I'm looking for.
Yeah, Angry Knees, he's younger than me too, and I feel like I look a lot younger than he does. I don't know. Maybe that's just vanity, but I don't know. He looks like 35. It might be the dad tank top and the mustache and the pulled back hair that's like aging him up a bit, but
and I went through a lot of trial and error, a lot of experimentation in my past, a lot of stepping stone relationships, and I'm very thankful for those relationships because every single one of them I've been in has showed me something different and it's taught me something new, and I'm very thankful for that. Although some of them ended not so great, not all of them, but some of them did, I still learned, you know, very valuable lessons. And there's value in that, there's beauty in that, and I'm thankful. Okay, but as I'm saying,
no, Sport, that's actually a really good point. He might be 29 years old in his physical meat shape that he's in now, but his energy as a wizard has probably been propagating since like millennia ago.
it's like now I'm at a point where it's like, even though there's opportunities to just jump into the next relationship and try to fill the void and just keep doing that over and over again, it's like, at what point do you actually grow up? And at what point do you actually commit to what you really want? Like, when do you realize you're playing a game? When do you realize you want something real and you want something meaningful and you want something intimate? Not surface, intimate. Okay? Only you can make that choice. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that path is a harder path to walk than just filling the void. But what I will tell you is that that path
technical
is going to
difficulties.
make you the most satisfied in the long run compared to the latter. The more you're filling the void, the more your void will end up consuming you in the long run. And that is never going to be a good thing. You're going to be filled with regret, filled with all the emotions you were trying to run from. It's only a matter of time until you're, you know, forced to really face those things head on. When you could truly honor it now. And you can learn to...
Yeah, one day I'll learn not to click things on the screen. Maybe. I don't know. The ADHD really wants me to click things.
Go into flow with your process so that you can nurture it in more of a gentle way rather than it all smacking you like a brick or like a train. Okay? So I wanted to share this once again because I know there are those of you out there that might be going through separations right now, or maybe you've experienced this in the past and you were a little bit confused. This is your reminder to give yourself the time to heal. Just because you're manifesting another person that wants to date you or wants to be in a relationship with you doesn't mean that's divine intervention. It doesn't mean God's giving you a gift. Okay? It is a reflection of your own subconscious mind and a protective part of you that's trying to refill the void through another familiar pattern. Because it's just trying to keep you safe. But you're mature enough and you're aware enough to realize that's not going to satisfy you and that's not what's right for your true process. So honor it. Okay, we're going to wrap it up here. If you got value, thumbs it up. Drop in the comment section. Let me know what you learned from this. Let me know if there was anything that really stood out to you. And let me know...
Yeah, the thing that stood out to me is your fucking paintings, bro. I can't get over them. They're wild. We need to analyze these. I wanna see them closer. We gotta find a video where we can see these closer and not all blurred out. Because these... I don't know. This one might not be safe for Twitch. It might be some porn. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next Universal Mastery. Today's a Universal Mastery Day. He's got all kinds of trauma and family bond stuff, so we're going to do a deep dive on the wizard.
All right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. So there is something very unique that it is that we're going to be talking about in today's video. What I'm speaking about is trauma.
He does it every fucking time in today's video. It sounds so bad. It's the worst sentence structure in today's video. Just say in today's video. You don't need this. Or in this video. putting them both in the sentence is just, it's awful. It's so clunky. It makes my brain jellies hurt.
Trauma, and specifically how a lot of us have a misunderstanding of really what trauma truly is and how it affects us. So this is the very interesting thing. Trauma is not what happened to you. It's actually what happened inside of you because of what happened to you. So let me go ahead and explain this. So when it comes to understanding trauma in the body, you know, a lot of us have been through a host of different types of traumas. But what happens when you have two different people that go through the same exact physical trauma, but one person is internally much more affected in a negative way than the other person? Why is that? What's actually taking place there? So that's what makes this so interesting.
Some people are just weaker than others, you know? I'm built different. I can handle a lot of trauma. Been through a lot of trauma, and look at me. Look at me, I'm still standing. I got my shit together. I figured it out, all right? Some people are just weak little baby bros. Probably.
And really speaks to the fact that trauma isn't what happens to you. It's what's happening inside of you compared to what happened to you. So every single person has a different way of integrating, processing, navigating, and understanding their own internal landscape, their own internal process. And when it comes to different experiences that you go through, like different traumas that you experience, you know, it mainly matters about your relationship to yourself and what's going on internally that then determines.
Hi, Mina. Thanks for your first time chat. I love doggos. You love doggos. We all love doggos.
What ends up happening to you in the long run based on what you went through. So literally, you can have Siamese twins go through the exact same family dynamic that has the exact same trauma because both twins are living in the same family. And one of these brothers or sisters, a part of this twin set, can be really traumatized and turn out in a pretty negative way later down the road.
Twin set study mentioned. Okay. This is top psychology right here.
Because of that trauma, whereas the other twin can actually be very successful and understand how to navigate life and feel a lot more free. So once again, the question is, why is that, and how is that even possible? You know, if both of these people went through the exact same traumas, the exact same family dynamic, yet one of them seems to be affected in more of a negative way than the other, well, once again, the reason why that's the case is because
one of them's the main character, and the other one is the side character.
It's not the event that happened to you. Your trauma is not just the thing that happened to you, the physical event, or whatever it is that you want to call it. The trauma it is that you go through is connected to the events or connected to the experience, but it's more associated with how you...
There you go, Mina. I'm not putting it up to 2 times speed. That'll be a little bit too much, but you can have 1.5.
navigated it, how you internalized it, and how you processed it. So in other words, when it comes to healing trauma,
Blackburn. So when is he going to talk about wizard stuff, like how many lambs you have to sacrifice to gain fertility god's favor? You know, he does have some occult magics. I actually, the first stream I ever did, I went over one of his occult magics and how to summon demons on your enemy. We could probably watch that one again at some point now that I figured out how to record my Twitch shit and post it on YouTube so it doesn't disappear forever. But today we're focusing on mental health, trauma, and family bonds, not how to summon demons.
and understanding your own personal trauma, there's no more need to victimize the event or demonize the event or demonize the person that did it to you, and then in that process create yourself as a victim to what happened to you. Because the trauma really happened when it came to your relationship to what happened to you. And the reason why it's very powerful to be able to make that distinction is because this means that you have the ability and you have the power to heal this trauma internally and release it from your system, no matter what it is the event was, no matter what happened to you. Okay, that at a certain point becomes irrelevant because it's about what you're still doing to you internally in relationship to the actual event. So basically, it takes the charge off of the event itself, off of the person itself, and then allows you to take your power back by realizing, wow, it's what I'm now doing to me based on that relationship or based on that event. That's very important to understand for you to start.
Yeah, Angry Knees, if you listen to enough Universal Mastery, you'll understand that him and Smug probably would connect really well. That's probably why I find both of them so funny.
Healing in a much deeper way now. So moving forward,
Mina, this is Universal Mastery. This is my favorite wizard. He is a guy that covers the occult and woo-woo magic stuff, and he's got naked mermaids in paintings in the background on his living room. Maybe a gooner to mermaids. We're unsure. We're still discovering that together. But either way, he is a registered wizard. He does do occult magics. My first ever stream, we watched him teach us how to summon demons, and I used some sort of talisman to summon the energies of Kanye, and that might be why he created that N-word Heil, whatever, bullshit video. I don't know. That might be my fault. Shit.
forward in life, as you are starting to heal and you're starting to better know yourself, you're able to create a situation where, yes, you're a human being. You're going to experience trauma moving forward in your life. There are going to be certain things that happen. There are going to be certain relationships, certain experiences that are going to be traumatizing. You can't escape trauma in the world it is that we are currently living in. It's literally a part of what it means to be a human being. But what you can do is you can change your relationship to the trauma, which means you can actually...
I think I gave Kanye West too much demonic power by summoning Malek. Yeah, I might have fucked up, guys.
set yourself up to understand how to navigate it when it does show up so that you better process it and then release it from the system and no longer have to harbor it in your body so that it affects you in negative ways moving on into your future. So pretty much all of the different trauma it is that is currently in your body right now, all of this different repressed negative energy that's probably trapped inside of your nervous system, this is simply there because you don't understand how to process it. You don't even understand how to release it from your system yet, so all you really know is how to avoid it, run from it, therefore keeping it suppressed in your body.
Yeah, I mean, that's a decent point that he's making very poorly, is that if you've got this trauma and you're carrying it around inside you, you are going to express that in very negative ways. It's very typical in a lot of cultures, especially Irish culture, to shove shit down, emotional trauma. Don't talk shit, just, keep it deep down inside of you, and then one day you'll die is essentially the thought process. But that's not good for you. It's not good for your mental processing. It's not good for the people around you because you're going to express that in negative ways. So you need to deal with your inner trauma. You need to either go to therapy or process it on your own by your own critical thinking skills and cut the people out of your life that are continual sources of that trauma and drama. If you have to be alone to be happy, then be alone. But don't keep people in your life that are continually dragging you down or sources of stress. Because you don't deserve that. The most important thing is your happiness. You don't owe anybody a single goddamn thing. Yeah, I've cut off a lot of family members that were just not good for my mental health, and I do not regret it. Not to get boo-hoo me, but I haven't spoken to my mother in like 5 years, and I've never been happier. Because she's just not a good person, and she's never going to grow, she's never going to change, she's never going to accept responsibility for the things that she's done. So I'm done giving her chances, and I'm done having her around in my life and causing me trauma and continual stress. There's just no need for it. I don't owe her shit just because she birthed me. And that's kind of the point of things. I don't understand people's weird obsession with familial bonds, and I have to stay attached to this person that is continually mistreating me and causing me stress just because we have some weird blood tie. It doesn't matter. You're only living once. You only have one life, and you do not owe these people anything. Do what is best for your mental health. Do what's best for your happiness. If people... are toxic, cut them the fuck off and move on, because I guarantee you will be living a much happier, more fulfilled, and self-actualized life.
Isn't that wild to think? The reason why your life might be so traumatizing in the way that it is at this moment could literally be because you don't understand how to release the trauma from your earlier childhood. So what if it was possible that you could completely change your life and you don't have to live a life of high stress and so much negative energy if you actually learned how to release these burdens from your deeper past? Because I think what a lot of people do is that they victimize themselves and they say, oh, this happened to me. This person did this thing, so therefore I'm traumatized for the rest of my life. This is how I'm going to be. This is how I'm just going to act. This is the things that I'm...
Mocha, but you can say that non-orphans take family for granted, but I don't think that's true. And we're not like playing the trauma Olympics here, but my dad left before I was born, so I grew up with a single mom and no dad. And then I emancipated myself from my mom when I was 15 because she was a horrible person, and I wanted to live a good life that wasn't filled with trauma. Everybody's got issues, and whether you're an orphan with a great family or an orphan with a terrible family, or somebody that grew up with their blood parents as being great, excellent people, or somebody that grew up with their blood parents being terrible, shitty people, it doesn't matter. It just matters how they treat you. It doesn't matter where that bond comes from, whether you're adopted, whether you were born to them. If they treat you right and they're caring people and they love you, great. If they're toxic and they're get rid of them. There's no need to connect you to these people just because you have some familial bond or they adopted you or whatever reason. Do whatever's best for your mental health.
going to do because they did this to me, because this happened to me. But remember, there could be a completely another person, another human being just like yourself that went through something very similar, potentially even worse than you. And their life can pan out very differently. They can experience life in a very different way that's much more positive than what you're currently experiencing your life with. And if you're hearing me say that and that's triggering you, and that's making you uncomfortable, then maybe it's time to just take a moment to pause and self-reflect for a minute and really ask yourself, are you creating yourself as the victim to the traumatic events and relationships that you've experienced in your past? Because if it's true that it's not the event or the relationship that causes our trauma, it's our own relationship to ourselves and our inability to understand how to integrate it and process it, that means we can start learning how to do this now. We can recognize the truth of all this stored energy in the body and then go through the process of allowing ourselves to actually finally heal it, work through it, accept it, process it, and then ultimately what? Release it from the system. We don't have to carry it as baggage, and we absolutely don't need to identify ourselves as victims to the different events and circumstances that we've been through in our life. Because if you hold...
Yeah, no, the point is, Mokuba, is like my trauma is not better or worse than anybody else's trauma. Mina might have had a more traumatic life or a less traumatic life than me. It doesn't matter. We've all had trauma, and we all have to deal with that in our own way. Some of us are better at dealing with trauma than others. So a little bit of trauma might be more devastating to one person than a lot of trauma is to somebody else. It's very contextually, relevant.
Hold yourself as a victim, you are inherently going to create a victim reality. Meaning, one, you're never going to fully heal your wounds because you're the victim, which means part of the identity that you're attached to means that trauma has to be in place for this identity to even be alive. So if you're going to die to that identity or dissolve that attachment, that inherently means you can no longer victimize yourself based on what happened in the past. You have to let go of that. And that's just something that so many people aren't willing to do yet. But then there is a large group of people that are sort of aware that this is what they're doing in their system, and they don't want to keep doing that. And that's pretty much who I'm speaking to in this video. I want you to recognize if you've been victimizing yourself, whether you're conscious or unconscious of it. And I want you to notice that what happened to you does not deem you for a life of pain and suffering and hell. Yes, I am not discounting or discrediting the pain, the suffering, the abuse, and the trauma it is that you had to experience personally. I know that's terrible, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But what I am absolutely saying is that that does not dictate the relationship that you currently have with yourself in this moment. You actually can learn to reintegrate those wounds in your system, shift them, release them, and then choose to be yourself again. And that self energy is going to cause you to live a completely different life. Very different than probably anything that you've ever been used to in the past couple years.
Yeah, and this is very true. Like I was saying, I used to carry the weight of all my bullshit inside of me, and I would mistreat a lot of people, my relationships, romantically, my friends, everybody. I was not a good person. And that all came to a head when I was in the military, and I crashed my second car drinking and driving because I had an alcohol problem while I was in the military. I had a broken spine and all that, and I was still dealing with all the trauma from my childhood, which is now dealt with, so it's not a big deal. But I crashed my second car, and that's when it was kind of a not to use a religious term, I guess, but come to Jesus moment, where I signed myself up for rehab in the military and went and stayed in like a facility for 2 months where I got clean from alcohol. Had extensive therapy for like 2 months, both group therapy and one-on-one therapy. And, that's a privilege that I got that not a lot of people got. I was in the military at the time, so I got to use the taxpayers' funded money to go have a 2-month stay at a mental health facility facility in the military, and have therapy all the time, and stop learning to stop drinking as a crutch for all of my trauma. And that was good for me. I think a lot of people, I wish more people had access to that. Obviously, that's not going to work with funding the way that the current U.S. mental health system is set up, and our insurance and medical system in general is set up. That's not viable for everybody. But for me, it was really good. I finally got to process all of the trauma from my childhood, the trauma from the military of, losing my job after breaking my spine. I got to process that and get the feelings out, and that does help. Not carrying all that inside of you, speaking it, having other people bounce ideas off of you related to those emotions, hearing other people talk about their situations and how they're similar, it does help. I no longer carry the trauma of my childhood around with me. It's not a big deal. I treat people better. I'm a better human being for it. I'm a much kinder human being. I am much better at communicating, and I don't have a drinking issue anymore because I don't have all this pain inside of me that I'm needing to mask and cover up. So that's the point of the story. I used to be an asshole and piece of shit and had a lot of issues. I am not now. I'm pretty good. I have a good life. I have a good stable job. I have a happy life with my wife. I don't mistreat people. So you can come from a place of being toxic and having trauma inside you to a place of being self-actualized, happy, and at peace within yourself, not carrying around all this bullshit that other people have put on you, and not all the shit that you've put on yourself. It just takes some work, some actual mental processing and work. And not a lot of people are willing to put in that work, but I believe in you.
10, 20 years potentially. So just remember that. The trauma isn't what happened to you. It's what happened inside of you based on what happened to you. So you're able to develop these skill sets, develop these tools of awareness to move forward in your life and know how to heal so that trauma does not control you. And you can really, I truly mean this, live the life that you truly came here to live and feel satisfied about it. All right, that's the quick message it is that I really wanted to communicate in our today's video, just to nail this point home, because I really think that this...
In our today's video. Why does he do that?
Can connect some significant dots for people that need to hear this. So if this was something that you resonated with, hit the thumbs up button. That lets me know. Drop into the comment section and let me know if you really picked something up from this. Hit the notification bell, get notified whenever I'm posting, because I'm posting on a consistent basis and you don't want to miss out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, because by subscribing, you are further energetically connecting to everything it is that I'm teaching here. All right. Now, copy and paste this link and send it to some...
We will not be copying and pasting shit for you, brother. I love you, but that's insane. Okay, I have one more video to go over from this guy, which is somehow related, called How to Protect Your Energy and Never Be Drained. Energy Vampires. No, come on. Technical difficulties. It's okay, we'll just listen to the Tron music for a second.
Videos about how we corrupted this beautiful and...
Nope. There it is. Okay. Can you guys hear the music, by the way? Do I need to turn the music up? It's very low. Now you can definitely hear it. How's that on the music? It's supposed to be low. I just want it in the background.
Mastery. Absolutely honored to
In
have
this today's video.
So in this today's video,
God damn
I'm going
it!
to be talking about something that I feel like is extremely misunderstood And I can totally see how in different areas of my own life, I have completely misunderstood this as well. But this is something that is very natural, it's very human, and I think it's very important to embrace within yourself when you go through certain time frames, certain situations, and certain experiences in your life that require this from you. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the importance of protecting yourself. When does it become really important to stand up for yourself, to speak for yourself, and to actually protect yourself in the ways that are truly necessary? Especially in a time today where there's a lot of
today's video is giving me so much fucking psychic damage, it's incredible.
misconception around what it means to be authentic and what it means to stand up for yourself and what it means to, sometimes even go against the grain in order to stand up for yourself. How many people are there that could say like, hey, you're being rude or you're being inappropriate?
Spore, I'm not A-logging anybody, okay? We're learning from the wizard about mental trauma. This is serious.
Or that's not a good thing to do, when in reality, maybe it is a good thing to do. And maybe protecting yourself is very important. And I'm going to be sharing my own experience with this. And I think it's something, once again, that's very valuable. And I'm very happy to be able to share this with all of you. So if you're tuned into this video, I believe you're here for a reason. So if this is something you are also interested in as well, then I will simply see you on the other side.
Yeah, Dispel, get mogged in my ability to yell in my own home. Nobody can fucking hear me, okay? This place is so soundproof, I love it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're talking about the importance of protecting yourself. Now, let me start with giving a little bit of a context here. This is absolutely something that, I have definitely embraced within my past in regards to protecting myself with different situations and experiences that I've been through. I come from a pretty intense family dynamic with a lot of severe narcissism, and I had to...
Same, brother, same. Hey, I see Punish Mokuba and probably Wiz are fighting in the comments. So, this is great. What are you guys fighting about? Oh, that I'm a leech on the taxpayer? Yeah, I leached off the taxpayer money in the military to go to a nice mental health facility for 2 months because they caused my mental health issues by breaking my spine and then giving me fucking SSRIs, therefore disrupting my brain chemistry, giving me anxiety and depression. But I leached off the taxpayers. Absolutely.
To learn how to protect myself pretty early on in ways that were quite extreme. Actually, in ways where I was a little bit more narcissistic myself. That used to be one of my primary masks that I used to wear, was more of a narcissistic mask. And I feel like I kind of adopted that from my dad at the time. But, as I kind of went in my own direction and I separated from the household and I started going down my own path, that's when that whole narcissistic protective mask that I used to wear really ended up biting me in the ass, because it's not really who I am at a core level. It's not what I resonate with at a core level. And of course, to wear that type of mask and to have that persona, you're having to then repress a lot of other things that are associated with the deeper vulnerabilities of the inner child. Hi, Hannah. You want to say hi to everybody? Yeah, let's see if she says hi. You want to say hi to everybody? Yeah, say hi to everybody.
Based familiar mention, let's go.
It's okay. She's like, I don't like being on camera. Okay. So, with that being said, where I was going with this is, I used to wear that narcissistic mask, and yeah, don't get me wrong, that way, or maybe I should say mode of being, absolutely was able to protect me. It was actually to an extreme of everything was a perceived threat, everything felt like it was out to try to hurt me or take advantage of me, so it was like a hyper protective persona. And yeah, I did everything I could to kind of control what I could to feel protected, and in many ways, I found myself in several situations where I had to fight against the grain and, I guess, go against adversity. And that showed me a very powerful lesson in life. It showed me that I can protect myself, even though that the place that it was coming from was...
Yeah, and guys in chat, to be fair, I did say I was very privileged to have access to that because I was in the military. Not everybody has access to that. Most people, they drink and drive and crash a car. Their life is severely impacted by that. Mine wasn't. I was super privileged, and I got to deal with my trauma and my alcoholism and all my issues because I was in the military, and that was dope. But yeah, I was definitely privileged to have that, for sure.
Wasn't the healthiest place. Like, the place I was coming from was also in many ways manifesting more of the adversity, but I at least was able to push through resistance, protect myself, fight for what I believed in, or fight for my own truth. And what that ended up teaching me is that I can stand up for myself and I can fight for myself in the ways that I need to.
Mokuba, no crashing out in chat.
Now, once again, eventually that persona of that narcissistic sort of protective response, that eventually came and bit me in the ass, just because of the nature of it. And because, you know, because I want to heal and because I want to understand these different things that are in my body and I want to be more authentic to who I am and live the life that I feel like I really can live, I've always been receptive to recognizing, okay, maybe this behavior isn't healthy. And that point came for me. And what I ended up starting to do is I kind of started to a little bit more so demonize my own protective response because I started stepping into more sensitivity. And I started stepping into a little bit more vulnerability. And I wasn't really used to that. So it was almost like I started associating my ability to protect myself with a once worn narcissistic persona that I really picked up from with my dad. So I started to kind of internalize my protective mechanisms, which are healthy and important, as being narcissistic and as being bad, like my dad is. So I kind of got to a point where I became very sensitive, very vulnerable, and was seeing the protective response not only in myself, but also in other people, as if it was not healthy, as if it was not a good thing. And that's a really, you know, rough place to be, because of course, in life, all things require some sort of a balance. There needs to be a light with dark.
Okay, he's gonna get super woo-woo and magic about this, but this is unironically true. One of my most, like, important things in life is balance. Everything needs to be fucking balanced. You have to have a balance between everything. That's like a core fucking function. If you don't have balance, you got nothing. You're fucked.
Dark. There needs to be masculine with feminine. There's an up, there's a down, there's a left, there's a right. There's protective, there's vulnerability, sensitive. Okay? And when you have these things in balance and you are able to flow between them,
except when it comes to political shit, because centrists are unironically evil.
Organically and authentically, that's a well-rounded approach. That's what it means to be grounded. So at this point in my life, I was starting to move away from my protective response because I was so, I want to say shameful and guilty for the more narcissistic persona and the narcissistic mask that I used to wear, and I didn't want to be anything like my dad anymore. So I kind of I fluctuated way more into this.
His dad never tried to fuck mermaids. He said, I don't want to be like this loser. I gotta get out in the open oceans and find me a mermaid to fuck.
Honestly, it was like way more into an empathic state, like overly empathic. And from that overly empathic state where I'm turning up, you know, my sensitivity to emotions and to other people's emotions, that put me into a very codependent energy. And then I attracted a bunch of narcissistic energy, funny enough, right? So there definitely is a correspondence between super high empaths and even narcissists, because most likely underneath both of those types of people, there is a string or an energetic thread of codependency. And codependency is narcissistic in nature, even if it's empathic.
Yeah, I mean, this is true as fuck. I grew up in LA, and I was definitely an empathetic person, and I tried to help as many people as I could, as a teenager and a young man, and I got used, and I got fucking walked over, and everybody just used my empathy and my kindness and stepped all over me, and that taught me a lot. But that didn't teach me to stop being empathetic and kind. It just taught me to be careful about who I trust and who I give that empathy and kindness to, because not everybody sees the world the same way I do. Not everybody is as open and sharing and kind. A lot of people are just, you know, out for the number one, and they will use you and manipulate you to get to those ends. That's pretty obvious, but to a teenager, it's not. To a teenager that is naive and doesn't have their frontal lobe developed, it's very easy to think that everybody is the same as you are.
Empathic, or if it's narcissistic. Narcissistic meaning not being as vulnerable, not being as sensitive in that way. Empathic means being overly sensitive, overly vulnerable. The core underneath essence of both is I want to control the situation. I want to be in control in some way. We're just doing it in different ways. So that's the side of the spectrum that I kind of fluctuated to. And I attracted a lot of narcissistic people in my life, being more codependent, being more empathic. And of course, you know, what does a narcissist do in your life? They put you in positions where you need to have boundaries. And once again, I'm speaking from a personal place.
All the narcissists in chat, I see you down there. Listen up closely. This is for you.
Of having been more narcissistic in my life. I know what it's like to do that to someone, and I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of that too, which I think is a really unique thing that not a lot of people have experience with, but that is something that I have experience with. And I will say there was many more years where I was much more in that narcissistic mask than it was that I was in this very empathic, overly empathic, more so super codependent mask, you could say. So, in other words, I understand the narcissist pretty well. When I see one, I know. When I recognize a narcissist, I recognize it.
is the point that I'm making. But with the narcissist, they're basically putting you in a position where you need to have your boundaries. You need to have your protective response. And the whole goal of it is to find your balance. It's to be able to say, okay, you know, I can protect myself. This is important. This is valuable. But I can also be vulnerable and I can also be sensitive. So when it comes to you as a listener, whether you've been a narcissist in your past, or, you know, if you resonate with that or not, that's completely something that you'll be able to, you know, see within yourself. But when it comes,
I definitely used to be a narcissist. I'm not anymore. I used to think that I was super fucking smart, super important, super special. I'm not. I don't anymore. I've grown up. I know how, you know, unimportant I am, and I consider myself to be of average intelligence, and I don't have a gigantic ego. But definitely, as a young man, I did. I'd say that I stopped being empathetic and kind when I was getting used at about like 13, 14. And that's when I transitioned to being kind of an asshole, and just kind of joined the crowd and said, you know, I guess if everybody else is going to use and manipulate me, I might as well just fucking be the same way. But that's not a good way to live. It does not attract the right kind of people, and it's not good for your soul, for lack of a better term.
comes to the more empathic side of things, like the super empath, or, you know, being very codependent in nature, you know, this is something that I think most of us to some level are going to be able to resonate with in our own personal lives. So I would say probably majority of you are kind of on that spectrum of being a little bit too empathic or too codependent. And that's for those of you that are resonating with what I'm saying. Not all of you are in that approach, but for those of you that resonate with these dynamics, I would say it's probably mostly the empathic approach. Some of you might resonate more with that narcissistic approach. But once again, the point that I'm making is we want to have a relationship with both our vulnerability, our sensitivities, our ability to feel emotions, first our own emotions. We want to be able to connect to our sensations, connect to our emotions, and be willing to let that flow in a natural way that it needs to, as well as being willing to build that relationship to these very wounded inner child parts of us that literally live inside of our nervous system. So every single one of us literally has parts of us that are inside of our systems, and most of us have what's called exiled, wounded child parts that are still frozen in the past traumas from everything that we've been through. And they literally are like their own intelligence. It's like their own separate entities that live inside of our bodies. So it becomes very important to connect with these parts of us and start to process some of the emotions, the memories, and the sensations that they're still holding on to in order for them to move out of the past and then integrate more into the present moment. This is
What is happening in chat right now? Are you guys okay? Is everybody fine down here? Mokuba, are you gonna be all right? Do we need to have a chat? I don't know if that's Smug. I don't think Smug would watch my content, to be honest.
It's a very, very important thing that takes place when it comes to real trauma healing and working through, you know, all this repressed stuff in your system. So that's important, but then what happens when someone comes into your life and they completely threaten you or hurt you or put you in a situation where you're no longer feeling safe, and now the inner child parts of you are not feeling safe and they need someone to stand up. They need someone to protect them. They need someone to recreate that safety. So if you're overly empathic, as much as you're trying to connect with your sensitivities and these inner child parts of you, then you're also, if you're overly empathic and you're attaching to it, you are not honoring your protective mechanisms and you're not honoring your ability to have boundaries with people that are not healthy for you. So even though you think you're connected to your vulnerabilities and your inner child, probably more than the average person, you're also hurting your inner child and neglecting them because you're also going to be attracting people that will try to hurt that inner child or take advantage of it because, once again, those people are trying to show you about boundaries. And you're in resistance to those parts of you. And there's reasons why you're in resistance to those protective parts of you. Maybe that's, you know, your own trauma response and stuff that you grew up in when it came to your family dynamic, like standing up for yourself was never appreciated, or you were always shamed, you were guilted, and you were judged every time you said every time you said something that came from your heart or came from your own authenticity and standing up for yourself. And what did that lead you to believe? It led you to believe that having your own thoughts, your own opinion, your own ability to be authentic, even when other people don't agree, it led you to believe that you're not loved and you're not worthy or you're not accepted if other people don't love you too, because you grew up in that. You grew up with disapproval, judgment, shame. So now you've internalized it at a young age, and now you're probably in adulthood, and you're still seeking for that approval. You're still seeking for that love from the outside world so that you can just love yourself. But that's not how that works. No matter how sensitive and how gentle you are with your inner process, that doesn't attribute to being healthy. Sometimes the healthiest approach and the healthiest response that you could possibly have is being assertive, strong, firm, and confident with your boundaries and your ability to protect yourself when it is absolutely necessary. So what would that flow look like if you had a relationship with your sensitivities, your gentleness, your innocence, and all of these wonderful inner child qualities, but then also had a relationship with your inner warrior, your inner dragon, your inner defender, your inner protector that's gonna also keep you safe and protect those innocent parts? What does it look like for you to flow naturally between these different parts of you when the time requires it, or when these situations take place in your life? Okay? There's a lot of people like myself who internalized my own childhood trauma, and then through my life, there was times where, as I said, there was points in my life where I pushed down all of my innocence, all of my inner child parts of me, and then there was points where I pushed away.
Yeah, and he's making a good point there. I had to do the same. I said I grew up without my dad, and I grew up with a single mom that used me as kind of her emotional crutch and her pseudo relationship for not having a husband. And I had to grow up really fucking quickly as a child. I would spend time with her and all her adult friends that she had, and they would all say, wow, this child's really articulate and he can hold a conversation with adults, and why is this kid so adult? Well, it's because I had to grow up and be treated like an adult given the situation I was in, and that wasn't good for me or my development, and it made me miss out on a lot of parts of childhood and being a child that now as an adult I let myself explore. I let my inner child have fun things as a 32-year-old adult. I can still play video games. I can still have stuffed animals. I can still do things that are considered childish because I never got to do those things as much as a child when I had to grow up really fucking quickly. And so I don't have any shame or weird thing about that. I don't care what anybody thinks about it. I am a full and complete person that has the adult sides of me and the childish sides of me. And I let all of myself explore those things without it being an issue. And you should too.
Away my protective parts of me because I thought they were bad from when I used to be more narcissistic. And then I associated that part of me with my dad. But the truth is that no matter what type of part it is that's in your system, all of them require love. And all of them require some form of attention and some form of a relationship building and nurturing.
Mokaba, be nice. Don't make me take away your mod privileges. I love you.
With these parts of us so that we can really integrate into our true, authentic selves. And we can have a much more holistic approach to life. And to be true again, or to be honest again, even these protective parts of you that, yes, absolutely can become harmful. If we are overly attached to our protective parts of us and we're identified with them and they run our system, that's what's called blending. It's basically when this part of us overrides our nervous system and we're not aware of it. We can say things, do things, act in ways that are really not appropriate, that are really not healthy for us. And we can, continuously do this every single day on and on and on without actually understanding what it is that we're doing. And it can burn us out. It can cause health issues. It can burn bridges with relationships, etc. That's absolutely a possibility. And I would say the large majority of most people are blended with their protective parts, and it's running their lives in a way that's really not good. That's causing a lot of harm. That's unnecessary. But then there's a good amount of people too that are completely repressing their protective parts and are trying to find a home with their vulnerabilities and their sensitivities. But once again, you can't be balanced and you can't be a whole person, a holistic person, if you don't have the relationships with all of your parts, with all the different types of energies inside of your system, both protective and innocent and vulnerable. So that's the main message. If you're listening to this, just remember that there is no part of you that is bad, and it becomes really important to actually know how to protect yourself and speak your truth and stand your ground when that is absolutely necessary. You have to honor that for you, because I promise you, no one else is going to do that. People can come in your life, they can hurt your inner child, they can try to take advantage of you, they can try to, deceive you, they can try to take things from you, and that would be your responsibility if you're allowing them to do that. And you...
Yeah, the wizard's spitting right now, right, man? I got right meow. The wizard is spitting right now. I ain't got no criticisms.
You are in resonance with them in the first place. You think these people are manipulative, controlling, and whatever you want to call them. You were in resonance for that in the first place. That codependency energy underneath was also narcissistic. So you were trying to control them by getting them to like you, just like they're trying to control you by micromanaging you and manipulating you and doing weird things with you. So once you start to notice this and then find that balance inside of yourself, your ability to protect, stand up, but your ability to let go, be soft, and be more gentle with your deeper vulnerabilities, and then find that, there will naturally occur a balance between this. Like there's a state where you can just be and trust that all of your parts are working together in harmony.
If you're fresh to the stream and you're just watching, thanks for joining us. Please give me a like and follow or whatever. I am not good at the self-promotion, but it would be dope if you followed me. I'm trying to get to 50 followers. We're pushing for it. I cover a lot of different things. We're kind of just a culture channel, but specifically I cover a lot of military and veteran stuff, which I'll be doing tomorrow morning with another military member, Epic Fail. I cover mental health, emotional stuff, sometimes politics stuffs, and then gamings. It's a hangout channel. There's nothing specific here. If that's not your vibe, that's fine, but if you do like it, give me a follow. I appreciate it. Ignore the psychos in chat. Ignore them. They're going off today.
That you can handle situations when they come up and how you need to handle them. And I think the ultimate goal with this is that, you know, we want the default state to be more harmonious, to be more flowing, to be more gentle, but we want to have the safety to know that if something breaches that regulation, or if something, you know, presents itself as a real threat, we can jump into action if we need to.
Ah, you're living rent-free, you fucking communist, Mina.
We can be fierce. We can be potentially dangerous if we need to, depending on how we need to protect ourselves. Or we could just be firm and we could be strong and we could have a sense of self-leadership and authority. All right? Once again, no one else is going to do this for you. It is your responsibility. So that's the core message of today's video. Honor your ability to stand up for yourself, to protect yourself, to speak your truth.
I think in today's video might be a curse that he's casting on me and other viewers of this video. It's a psychic mental curse. He's doing it on purpose. That, or we need to send this boy back to English class.
You're doing it for your own innocence. You're doing it for your own sensitive, gentle, inner child parts of you. Don't be afraid of your ability to have boundaries, but also don't be afraid to go into your vulnerabilities either. Don't be afraid to let go of being hyper protective, hyper alert of everything, and hyper defensive. Let go of that as well and be willing to fall into more sensitivity, falling into more vulnerability and more gentleness, and let those energies flow naturally. What does it mean to be authentic for you? When you wake up in the morning, what feels right for you first? Do you feel like you need to be a little bit more protective? Honor that, but don't be attached to it. And don't feel like you have to keep reiterating different routines and habits in your life that keep that protective response alive. For example, substance abuse, unhealthy relationships, all of those different types of things. Those can keep us stuck in protective responses, basically getting stuck in a survival state. So once we address those things, we naturally actually start to, the more safety that we create in our lives, naturally the more we start to shift into vulnerability. It's literally a completely natural thing that happens. So can we culminate a life where there is a default safety that is always there so that we can work with these gentle, sensitive parts of us? But then once again, when something breaches that safety, we can have our boundaries, we can be firm, and we can create even more safety in our system because we know that we will and we can protect ourselves. And this process is going to look different for every single one of you. So that, as I said, is primarily the core message of today's video. So if this is something that you really, resonated with, you really took in and it really spoke to you, definitely make sure you slam the thumbs up button.
Yeah, so that's the end of today's video. And that's the end of our coverage for Universal Mastery and talking about trauma. There is one more video from him that I wanted to go over, though, just for the viewers that haven't seen it yet. So let me find that real quick, because it is grand. And then we'll get the fuck out of here. How you doing, chat? Have you calmed down at all? Are you still fighting? Is everything going to be okay? I love you. I love all of you. You're the best. Ooh, Luciferian Bloodlines. That one sounds fun, but that's not the one I'm looking for. Is this it? I think this is it.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
I gotta jump ahead and see if this is the right one. No, this isn't the one where we summon Malek. Hold on. Did he delete it? He better not have fucking deleted that shit. Was it too powerful? It might have been too powerful. Pause chat. We're looking. Oh, yes, this is it. Okay, beautiful. Oh, he goes into the fucking tattoos and the demon rings and all the power that he's harnessing. And this is why we love Universal Mastery. This is our wizard in the Salty Squid community, the Pond Scum offshoot community that doesn't exist. We love the wizard, Universal Mastery.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. Welcome to my channel.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
What I'm going to be talking
He decided to talk faster in this one. We're going to drop that down a little bit because we want to hear all the magic.
about in today's video is something that is very valuable, something that's very important to understand. And it's going to be, it's something that you, exactly what I said, you need to know this, okay? And this is high level knowledge, okay? So once again, Universal Mastery, what I do on my channel is I break down the occult sciences and I break them down to a practical level so that you can use them and apply them in your day-to-day life. Just to give you a little bit of an understanding on who I am, my name is Jeremiah Schwartz. I am a professional occultist, fully initiated in Kabbalah, being the top of the tree and the bottom. I'm studied when it comes to the tarot, and I'm also studied when it comes to astrology and planetary energies and things of that nature. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about in today's video that is so important is going to revolve around how to gain power from spirits. Now, I'm not going to teach you how to do an invocation in this video. I'm not teaching you how to do it necessarily, but I'm going to explain the process of how you would gain power from a spirit. If you're
I don't know, because I watched this video and I created a little talisman with Kanye's name on it, and not too long after, he created the most insane music video that I've ever seen in my fucking life. So I feel like maybe I had something to do with that. Maybe I'm a powerful wizard as well. I don't know. It's still out for the jury.
wanting to understand or learn the actual techniques, the actual invocation method, which means calling an external spirit, pulling it into your own energy field and taking on that spirit's power, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to join my Patreon, because I have a video on my Patreon that teaches you.
Yeah, if you want the real magic and the real power, all you have to do is give him $5.99 a month.
Exactly how to do an invocation, where I do it on camera so you see me doing one, and then afterwards I teach you how to do it. Okay, so that'll be on my Patreon. That's going to be the first link.
What do you need? What do I need you for, brother, man? I got all the power I need. I summoned Kanye to become a Hitler 2.0.
In my description, okay? So yeah, once again, without further ado, we're going to be talking about how to gain power from spirits. What exactly are the mechanics that are going on, and what's taking place? What is the energetic
Yeah, will somebody drop the link for the Pond Scum Discord in my channel? If anybody's here fresh viewing that is not part of the Pond Scum Discord that would like to be a part of the community, it's great. It's a nice little psych ward filled with a bunch of schizos of different varieties, different continents that they live in, and different mental spaces that they abide. So come join the party. It's fun. We're all a little crazy, but, you know, it's a good time, I think.
exchange that is taking place between yourself as your own individual spirit and an external spirit that exists, could be in different universes and different dimensions and within the astral plane. Okay, so if you want to know how to do this and what's going on behind gaining power from a spirit, then stay tuned for the rest of the video.
Oh yeah, we're getting the good shit now, chat. Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. Right off the bat, working with spirits is not necessarily for beginners, okay? So no matter what
Don't forget to stretch, chat, before you summon any demons, or you may injure yourself.
spirit you're working with, you're gonna find that there is a lot of people that try to do invocations, that try to work with other spirits, but they are unable to, because the reason for that is because, and it's very simple, you don't have enough power yet. You do not have enough magic built up within your own energetic field that you're not able to be psychic. You're not able to.
You haven't got enough aura to be a psychic warrior, chat. Don't try it, okay? Universal Mastery is the only one that can tap into these energies. If you try it, you might fucking lose your dick or something.
To communicate with the other realms, the other dimensions, or tap into the astral plane, okay? So, long story short, if you are a complete beginner and you feel like you don't have your, enough power to do this, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to watch the video before this one, which teaches you how to build up power, your own magic power, personal power, using a wand. And I explain within that video exactly how to do that. And I'm going to make sure at the end of this video, I'm going to put a link for that video so you can check it out. Okay? So if that's you, go check that video out and start applying that first. Then once you gain enough power, once you build up your energetic field, now you're going to be able to do invocations. Now let me explain what exactly is taking place when it comes to doing invocations. First thing that we can already draw from what I just said is you already need to be somewhat of a psychic. So there is a lot of people, there are some beginners, a good handful of them actually, I was one of them, who was naturally gifted when it came to being a psychic. So when I started my practice,
Look, if you're a quant and you're in chat, you might want to just tune out because this is not going to make any sense to you. This is for psychic warriors and psychic warriors in training only.
practices, I dove into spirit invocation very quickly. Very quickly. And it was where my spirit led me to go. Like the information was being brought to me and I took it very seriously and I went and I performed it and I was disciplined and I did it over and over and over and over. And as I did it, I would get more and more success and I would see signs.
Hi Diz, welcome. Thank you for coming. I love you.
Signs in my day-to-day life that the spirit that I was doing invocations with was communicating back to me. I was writing down notes during invocation. I was asking questions. I was sitting still in silence, making sure I'm listening to my own dialogue in my mind. And then I would ask questions and I would listen to see if something can interfere with my own inner dialogue to give answers. So I took it very seriously. Now there are people that don't take it as serious as I took it, or people that will take it as serious as maybe you have, or you will. Meaning there's gonna be people that try to do their first invocation. They think that they're just gonna see this spirit appear and they think it's gonna be like something you would see out of a Hollywood movie. But in reality, that's not true. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have experiences that are like that. You for sure can. I have had many I've had so many supernatural experiences during my deep occult workings. To the average human mind, it would shock you. It would literally take you from where you're at in your current state of mind and collapse it, throw it into a whole nother world of belief, and then reawaken a whole nother awareness. I've seen things, I've done things that are so supernatural that where I'm at in my personal practice and power, there's no denying that occult science has an effect here on the physical plane. And you will eventually get to that point if you're taking it serious. Now, once again, there's going to be beginners that get into it and they want to do their first invocation. They jump right in. They're not gifted naturally, so they're not psychic already. They do their invocation. Nothing happens. They say, I don't know. Nothing showed up. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. I used the sigil. I used the mantra. Nothing happened. And then they write it off and they say, oh, didn't work. Not true. Can't happen. And those people, obviously, are going to fall to the wayside. Now, obviously, if that's you and you've tried to do invocation, it hasn't worked for you yet, remember what I just said. Go to the video before this one and learn how to build up your energy field using natural earth energies first so that you can charge your wand and your crystal, which becomes a generator for magic, a generator for energy that you're collecting through the trees. I give you the whole technique on how to do it. Then you can build up your energetic field, which increases your connection to spirit, to the spiritual planes, which then will give you psychic abilities so that when you go to do your first invocation, now you're going to be able to interact with spirits. Okay? So go to the first video before that if that's you. Now, this is what's going on. Okay, so this is how you gain power from spirits. I'm going to start off very simple here, and I'm going to make other videos that go into much more depth because there is a real science behind it, including the Fibonacci sequence on a very deep level that reaps very powerful reward. But I'm going to go very basic in today's video. And it shouldn't actually even be too long. So when you're trying to gain power from a spirit, through working with that spirit, what you're doing is, first of all, you're approaching a spirit that you already have a natural inclination to. There's already a gravitational pull that's pulling you to whatever spirit that you're attracted to, okay? Now, what you need is you need the mantra for that spirit, okay? You need the mantra that can call on that spirit. And if you go and search the mantra for that specific spirit, that is an archetypal mantra that many other people have used, which is a very powerful gateway to get you right to that spiritual energy, whichever spirit it is that
No, Mokuba, that's alcoholism.
you're trying to work with or channel, call to you. The next thing you need is that you need the sigil of the spirit. Okay, the sigil, a symbol that creates a gateway because you're drawing it on paper, which is wood, which connects back to earth energies and is very ancient. but then you're drawing it, the symbolism, the literal, like all these symbols that you're drawing have codes to it. It's all science. And once again, you're tapping into another archetypal energy that is now creating a gateway, connecting the physical plane over to the astral, you could say. And now that spirit has a gateway to come through because you're trying to have the spirit come to you through your intent.
Yeah, Violent Smoker, we're learning about science here, psychic science.
Okay. Now, the mantra, essentially when you come across mantras, what they really are is worship. Mantras are worship.
Testicle Johnson, we unironically believe this. I don't know what you're talking about. I would never make fun of this man. He is a wizard, and I don't want dark curses on my name, okay? Thank you, kisses.
What exactly does the word worship mean? Worship means respect, okay? So when you say a mantra, if you actually dissect it, most of the time, the translation of that mantra that you're using to the language you understand, it's usually like, hail this spirit, or great.
Just like Kanye, he's casting a curse with that video. It's hail, you know, that dude with the stash and the hats and the things and the bad stuff.
Lord, this spirit, or wonderful, like it's worship. It's high levels of respect. So you're approaching this energy from a very respectful energy so that you can get its attention. And I'm not saying on an emotional level, but when you respect something, there's a certain energy that's behind respect, which means one, you're taking it seriously, and two, you're taking the energy that you're calling on seriously. And because you have both of these things, this level of seriousness, this shows that you believe what you're doing is actually real. That is one of the most important things to understand. Belief in...
No, but unironically, Testicle Johnson, to answer your question, we like this guy because he is a woo-woo, fantastical, psychic magician guy. Maybe registered wizard. I'm unsure of his registration with the guild or not, but definitely powerful in the occult magics. And we analyze his videos because sometimes he has little nuggets of true things that we can pull out and talk about and explain better than he does without all the woo-woo magic bullshit. He's got some good things about trauma and some good things about interrelationships. This dude has definitely been broken up with a lot of fucking times. So he's got a little bit of good stuff, but it's also just fun. He's just an interesting, fun character. I dig him. I would have a beer with this man and talk about psychic warriors and demons and trauma and all that. I think it'd be fun. But just one beer, because any more than that and he might kidnap me.
What you're doing. Real belief in your magic. So when you take it seriously on that level, and you're saying your mantra, and you're approaching the spirit from that respectful place, that spirit, based on your energy and your power, will come through, whether it be faster or slower. For beginners that are just building up their energy bodies and starting to communicate with spirits, it's gonna take a little bit longer. The more powerful you become, you don't even need to do any of that. You can think of a spirit and it shows up. You can literally summon them instantly, and that comes down to bone generation.
Why doesn't this man do this on screen? I want to see the spirit. Do it. Where's your familiar, fuckface? Come on. No balls. Show us. Show us the goddamn spirits.
Crystallized minerals within your bones, your own bone structure, which can be, you become your own ritual circle. You become your own wand. You literally become whatever you need to make things manifest. And this is taking it a little off track, but this is high level magic. High level magic. Very advanced level magic. That's what you can get to. But once again, starting off, you should have your circle.
Yeah, this man is doing a Baldur's Gate explanation, actually. The mechanic system in Baldur's Gate.
And I will make a whole nother video to make sure I cover exactly what you want for your circle to make it the most effective, and what other tools you would want to have to be able to summon a spirit in the most effective way possible. But the reality is that
this man definitely has a pearl worth 100 gold. That's all I'm saying.
When you're calling on that spirit using that respectful frequency and that serious belief that you have, it eventually will come through. If you have the right level of energy, it will come through. And the next thing you want to do is communicate to the spirit, whether you can hear it or not. You want to communicate, okay? You want to say, hey, help me evolve. Help me improve myself. Help me reach my highest potential. These are things that you want to say.
No, Mina, this video was posted 4 years ago, so Donald Trump predates him.
Now, the next thing you would want to do is you want to sit and listen to your own inner dialogue. Because a lot of the times, people don't know this, but a lot of the times spirits will speak to you in the very beginning when you're new through your own dialogue. It will sound like your voice. You may mistake it to be you, but the spirit will influence your own inner dialogue.
I think this might be a paranoid schizophrenic chat. Oh no.
To respond. So for example, if you're sitting there, you've summoned the spirit to you, you've invocated the spirit, it's now in your energetic presence. So that means you and that spirit can start communicating, can start interacting with each other. The spirit is in a whole nother plane and you're on the physical plane. Okay, now there's a link from here on Earth, Mount Kuth, to a whole nother plane. Okay, so you want to ask things, start communicating. So say, help me evolve, or what can I do to improve myself? Now listen to your own inner dialogue, because the answers will slowly but very surely start to come. Your mind, your own inner dialogue will start to say it. And as you practice this, within time, you will develop a relationship with
Nobody knows where thoughts come from, but I think this man's thoughts come from dark energies.
the spirit. And what it means to develop a relationship with the spirit is now let's say you do the invocation, that spirit shows up. Now you're starting to hear a secondary voice that's not your own inner dialogue. So you've done it enough times, and every time you do it, you're actually increasing your power, because when you call that spirit in, it helps you to increase your energetic field using that spirit. It's just what happens.
He's collecting spirits as simps to increase his aura.
If your intention is on evolution, if you're trying to improve yourself. Now, if you have wrong intentions, that spirit could start feeding off you and take more of your energy and then never show up again. It's just a fact.
Is this a metaphor for his ex-girlfriend?
And it happens. It usually happens to people that do this stuff just to find out if it's real. And even if they did find out it was real, they didn't even want to really start the path anyways. They didn't really want to get deep into it. They just wanted to figure out if it was real or not. You got to be careful for that, because these spirits have certain properties, evolutionary properties. They're here to help you evolve. So why call on it if you're not going to go to the next level? Okay, that's one thing you want to know. This art is not a joke. This is a real ancient sacred art, and what I'm teaching you is high level. This is high level, okay? Even though
This is high level, okay? He's a registered magician, chat. Do not take this for granted. You're getting inside knowledge from the guild through universal mastery. We shouldn't laugh at this man. We should listen to this man, okay? We can summon our own demons to take down our enemies. We just gotta find the secrets and not use Kanye because he's bipolar and I might have fucked up.
this is very practical, very basic. This is actually high level, okay? Because you can do a lot of change with this potential power that you can gain from whatever spirit it is that you're summoning, okay?
He might be that as well, Testicle Johnson, undecided.
So that spirit, once you develop the relationship, you're going to be able to hear a separate dialogue in your mind that is that spirit that you're working with.
Also, if you're a first-time viewer, first-time chatter, thank you for showing up. Love you. Just doing a short Saturday morning stream today. We're nearing the end of it, just taking a look at my favorite Wizard Universal Masteries older videos and why we love him so much. But go ahead and give me a follow. That'd be dope. Love you. Kisses.
Now you're starting to really develop a relationship with that spirit, because now you can hear your own dialogue, and now you're hearing a secondary voice. And then you can start visualizing, or to start, you can say, show me what you look like. Show me what you look like. Appear in front of me so I can see in my mind's eye. And you may start visualizing after you said that, after you asked that question, then you may start visualizing that spirit in front of you. That is the spirit that is present, interacting with your question, or with your, not even question, with your command. Show me what you look like. And now it's interacting with your mind to show you an image on the physical plane through your mind's eye, through your brain, to have that appear. Now you're starting to really develop a close relationship with the spirit, because now you can see what it looks like to you. And what it looks like to you sometimes is going to be different than what it may look like to other people. But there is something that you'll find in common with a lot of spirits, is they will show up in similar ways to multiple people. So then, let's say, for example, you're working with a spirit, and then next thing you know, you start coming across information, whether that be online or friends or wherever it is, books. And that information you're coming across is now telling you.
What do we think, chat? Do we like the old school chin goatee we got going on here? The 90s look with the ponytail? Or do we think it's more powerful to have the little pedo mustache and the slick back hair without the ponytail of his newer videos? I don't know which look is more powerful and better in invocating demons, but I don't know. What do you think?
The same things that you got from the Spirit. Meaning when you were in invocation, the Spirit was teaching you things and it was showing you what it looked like. And now you're reading other people's information that you didn't know before. And they're saying the exact same thing. That's how you know these spirits are very powerful. And they carry very, you could almost say archetypal energies in their own way. Just like, you know, I have my own types of energies that are very archetypal in my own astrological makeup. Same thing with these spirits. Okay? So this is how you develop power from a spirit. As you build your relationship with that spirit and you stay consistent and you start asking for things, hey, can you do this for me now? So the beginning should revolve around, hey, can you help me evolve? Can you help me get to my highest potential? Can you help me learn more about this? Start asking questions that you want to learn about yourself first. As you start realizing how well that's working, now that you're developing this connection and this relationship with the Spirit, which the Spirit will follow you in your day-to-day life. It will show up and it will do things for you. Now, since you've built that connection, now you can start asking, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you go make sure this happens? And the Spirit, depending on what you're asking, will sometimes do what you want it to do. And sometimes it won't do what you want it to do because what you want it to do may not be in your best interest. And then that Spirit will tell you, hey, look, why do you want me to do this? Because this doesn't actually work out for you. This isn't in your best interest. This is actually not you. Like what you're asking for is way out of the realm of spiritual evolution. And they will check you.
Is this man like a Pokemon trainer for spirits?
And they will teach you that you need to stay focused on your evolutionary journey if the beginning of your invocations from the very start revolve around spiritual evolution. So your intent should be on reaching your highest potential, gaining power, and evolving.
He is a Pokemon trainer for spirits. He's sending his spirits out on missions so they can gain experience and then evolve into more powerful spirits. I get it now. He's building an army.
Connecting to source, reaching source. That's the whole purpose. And as you learn the nature of...
I think source is like where mana comes from, possibly.
The spirit that you're working with and your own nature, your mistakes, your flaws, the things that you're good at, the things that are in alignment with you, now you start commanding the spirit to do things that you know are in your best interest, and it will go and do those things for you. And you'll know how they happen very quickly. And as you know, there are many different types of spirits. There are hierarchies to spirits. Some are way more powerful than others. And I will make other videos that cover this subject.
So this is actually one that we'd never watched. This isn't the one where we summon Amalek, unfortunately. I wish we could have found that one, but we did not. Anyway, I have one more video for you before we dip out of here that the Wizard Walker sent to me. So we'll get that going instead of this Universal Mastery guy. It's the Evil Wizard Rap Battle. I don't know, is this TOS safe, Mr. Wizard Walker? I hope so. This is what we'll go out on, is whatever Wiz sent me. I hope it's not insane.
Lo, the hood awaited in a hushed silence, for dark wizards approached, and behind them followed legions, hyped up for the battle to come. Their minions raised banners of blood-drenched sigils. Goblin chiefs barked guttural orders, and brazen horns blared in response. Ghoul captains chanted rhythmic spells to keep skeleton foot soldiers marching in time. But the battle between the dread sorcerer Nefarious Hexnificus and the shadow necromancer known as Abyss would not be determined by armies. Every wizard knows the ancient rite that such a meeting demands. You ain't no wizard. You ain't even an apprentice. You ain't got no tomes. Ain't got no orb. Ain't got no dark library. Ain't even got no staff. Fuck out of here, wizard.
In my dark tower, turning bitches into drowners. I'm a feet a dark sorcerer with Vaselin's whole power. Opening my grimoire makes a witch cry. Kinda hit a witch transmogrify. Shit only lasts an hour. Send her packing down the town. Bitch looking kinda sour. Next day I find her dead, hanging from my dark tower. Eyes bulging, cheeks red, blood pouring like a shower. Axe hit a split chest, looking like a red flower. When she cast it at me, she should've known better. Now she's dead in the dirt, no grave, no header. Evil dark, ocean, evil dark, road, evil dark, books, evil dark, O's. I make every little thing any little wizard needs. Cause the power they wield ain't nothing to me. Evil dark, symbol, evil dark, spell, evil dark, water, evil dark, well. Every village in the province knows who I am. Cause I darken the skies at 12 p.m.
Yes, oh yes, then you will worship me.
To my power and influence, nothing compares. Deal with the devil, bitch, I don't care what little he can offer. I've already got in this ill-begotten realm, he can suffer and rot. Caught a wizard stealing from me, highly magic wizard trained, he left him be, let him leave, scrying with the palantary, he went home.
We should send this to Universal Mastery and see how he likes it.
Poison with no antidote, he's choking in his trouble sleep. His wife is begging him to keep breathing, but his chest was still sorry. Bitch, I hexed to kill, just another one. A wizard dying like a goner. Is a wizard gonna need to choke another? Let me ponder. Signs pointing yes, or visions never deviate. Should've run, which wizards know I never hesitate.
Really, wizard? Which, please?
I'm the mentor that the Necronomicon was wrote about. Answer me, there's something that a wizard should be told about. Scroll this out, every incantation you utter, which I can hear it, you stutter, mumble, so spit it out. Dark Lord, evil from the start, call me bad guy. Shadow over all of creation, gave it a black eye. Original villain from the birth of the universe. Wizard, if you think that you're evil, you were my student first. People look into my eyes and see true darkness. Hark this, compared to my wickedness, you're harmless. Look in the abyss and you feel me staring back. Paralyzed, transfixed, spirit under attack. Cast a spell, what wizard? I thought that was your game. Don't forget that when you conjure, you're invoking my name. I'm the power that be the black shadow abyss. I'm the darkness you call, no one cares what your name is.
X-Money power. X-Money power. X-Money power. X-Money power. X-Money power.
Minions hungry for the dinner, know what time it is. Sin wins, evil versus evil in this rhyme, and it's business. Wizard give a devil his due. If it wasn't for me, which there wouldn't be, you know. Deals keep it real, I got it all locked steady. I don't need to steal your soul because I own it already. So don't worry, I'm in no hurry to take it. This world deserves chaos, which I go out there and make it.
Hear me, ye powers of the night. We offer this sacrifice.
People look into my eyes and see true darkness. Hark this, compared to my wickedness, you're harmless. Look in the abyss and you feel me staring back. Paralyzed, transfixed, spirit under attack. Cast a spell, what wizard? I thought that was your game. Don't forget that when you conjure, you're invoking my name. I'm the power that be the black shadow abyss. I'm the darkness you call, no one cares what your name is.
When all was said and done, and the fires of their fell rhymes were quenched, one stood victorious, and the other escaped to nurse his wounded pride. All around lay the bodies of the witnesses to their duel. History does not record the name of the hood where it all went down. In the days after, those blood-drenched streets were simply called the burial grounds.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Wizard Walker. I love you. You're the greatest. And I love each and every one of you in chat. You are the best. You are holding up America with your viewership of my channel. We are the last bastion of principles and non-debauchery and anti-degeneratism in the left. We are going to be taking over Twitch with wholesomeness and good vibes and mental health awareness. I love you all. You're beautiful. Have fun. Don't hurt yourselves.